What's up? I'm Kevin Suker, and I love J Ross TV.
What's up, y'all? This your boy J Ross in St. Louis with my cat Kev, y'all. But for y'all who don't know, Kev is the chief cook, bottle washer, tour manager, bus driver, all that for Mr. Benet, y'all. And Kev got a little time, so he gonna throw an interview for me, y'all, and I sure appreciate it. Now, Kev, you be on the grind 24/7.
Yes, sir.
You got musicians coming at you, want to get plugged in on different bands and different tours. What's the number one thing, or the first couple of things you look for to put somebody in the game?
Well, you know, thankfully, that's one of the few jobs that I don't necessarily have in what it is that I do. Hopefully, you know, like in my situation with Eric, you know, has a musical director who's very talented and has quite the outreach of musicians and pull all around the world, for that matter. So, like, I'm just happy that that's one thing that I don't have to be a part of. Is like finding a musician. Although I have in the past helped find a guy, like one cat is not available and we need somebody like yesterday. So, you know, I'll definitely throw some phone calls around. But man, the name of the game when we get to doing it at this level is all about having the right attitude. You know, there's so many people that have incredible skills, incredible chops, have paid their dues, have played in those little dive bars and clubs that we all have played in growing up. But once you get to this stage, it's kind of like, you know, what separates the cream from the rest is attitude. Guys that really have the head together, knowing what it really takes to be a great asset to a team, because that's what we're out here. Even, you know, you might have the dopest bass player or the most slamming guitar player or drummer in the world, but you know, out here it's not a lot of ego. We gotta live on a bus. You know, there's 11 people sitting on a bus together, so you gotta all be finding a way to cohabitate with each other in some really tough situations. You know, like when a bus breaks down. We just had a situation where our bus broke down for 14 hours outside of Jackson, Mississippi last week, and you know, it's hard if everybody's heads are kind of, you know, all full of ego, and the next thing you know, I've seen things get kind of ugly at times on the road, but we have a really, really good bunch of guys with us.
Yeah, now let me ask you this. Say, like, if one of your friends that you know you might be real cool with, you know, they can play, but you got another guy that might not be as good, but the attitude is way better. Would you supersede your friend?
Well, you just hit the nail on the head right there. At this point, you know, it's not necessarily about friends. Yeah, I'm looking out for friends, and you hope they look out for you too along the way, but you know, most importantly, you know, especially in a managerial position, a road manager, tour manager, out on tour, you want guys that really kind of, their heads are together. You know, the last thing you want to worry about is like when you call Wheels Up for the bus call, and you got two cats that are floating around still trying to, you know, talk to some honeys in the room, or trying to, you know, make their way in certain other areas. I want you know, my crew is at a really long day, sometimes 14, 16-hour day. I want Wheels Up to mean Wheels Up. So when we hit the road, it means, you know, guys need to be professional. It's not just about, you know, figuring out how to play, you know, single stroke rolls and making your game the best it can be. Yes, obviously that's a big part of making it and getting a big time gig. But you know, the other half, which sometimes is really hard for cats to learn, is keeping the head in check and realizing that to truly be a professional, all aspects of what it is that they're doing, from showing up to flights on time. I can't tell you, you know, I just recently had a situation where somebody I was working with a different artist missed a flight completely, like completely missed a flight. Now nothing gets me more pissed off than somebody who can't get to an airport to get to a flight on time. I'm like, you got a job to do, right? Like it's no different than if I was working at Radio Shack and I decided my shift started at 10, but I roll in at noon. Like, I'm sure my supervisor is going to look at me and be like, yo, thanks for showing up today. There's the door, buddy. You know, so, you know, it's all encompassing. I like to think the head is more important than the skill, but obviously the skill is what gets you, you know, in and heard at this level.
Yeah, once again, y'all, we're in St. Louis with my cat Kev, rolling it down for Eric Benet. Hey, Kev, have you ever considered sending somebody home off a tour?
I fight with that on a daily basis.
That's a hard decision to make.
Oh, it's a very hard decision because, you know, listen, I'm a father myself. I have responsibilities that are outside of my position with Eric Benet. So, you know, I take my job very seriously. I work my tail off, and I realize that, you know, everybody that we've got out with us here is doing the same thing. They're married, they have children, they have other responsibilities. So this is a source of income, if not their main source of income. So it's hard for me to look at these cats and try. I'm in a position where I might have to dock somebody's pay for missing a call, or holding up the whole group when we should have been moving, and now we run the risk of being late. So I try to be as cool as I can, because I realize if I was in that position where where I'm making a mistake, and I realize most importantly people are human. So I try to lead in a tour manager role as if I were the tour manager that I'd like to be working with as well. So like, I wouldn't want a cat that, I've been around situations where cats come in and start barking and screaming, and I believe that a real way to motivate is not by screaming at people, but by including them and allowing everybody to feel like they're part of the team. Like, a really amazing quote, and I'm probably going to butcher the hell out of it right now, but I love it. It's like, to really get the most out of people, don't talk at people. You want to try to engage and talk with people.
Right.
So that's kind of how I lead, and it's cool to have my boss, Eric Benet. It's cool that he is such a down-to-earth, real guy that he kind of sets the tone of what his gig is about, and I just kind of mirror, or I try really hard to mirror his tone. Sometimes, like, I'll get more emotional, or I'll get upset about something, and then I have to check myself and say, I'm here representing him, so I got to kind of make it look right for him.
Yeah. Now, how much longer you plan on doing this, big kid? You've been on the grind for a long time, baby boy.
Until I lose all my original teeth. I plan on being out here until somebody's got it. No, I'm teasing. I don't know. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
And I think if it wasn't a good time anymore, I think that's the at that point I probably have to check myself and be like, yeah, I wanna feel like I'm a part of something, that I can contribute my talents and my skills. Not only do I do tour managing, but I'm also his front of house engineer, and that's kind of like my pure passion, being an engineer and being part of the show that way. So I think if it ever becomes a point where it's like, man, it's become more of a grind than it is a positive learning and just all-encompassing good experience, then that's probably the time that I'll say, I don't know if this is going to be for me anymore, but right now I'm having a great time.